Welcome back, welcome back. It's your girl, the Alchemist Empress, bringing you another oracle, a message. This is kind of like a oracle message slash my testimony being added into it. Yeah. So I don't even know where to start, but I'm just gonna start wherever I'm led. So here we go. Every hurricane comes to an end. Okay? Every hurricane comes to an end. I know personally for me in my life and what I have undergone, it has been one hell of a hurricane. Um, my whole life was stolen and taken from me. I mean, from my name, what I look like, what I wear, how I speak, just how I show up in the world, all of that financially, all of it was taken from me. And the hurricane, I tell you, what a hurricane it has been. And I can document this like the last 30 years of my life, but I can actually really say when I fully became aware of it would have been since 2023, but I can even document it back to 2014 uh, when I got married. I just thought it was the world. I thought I found the one, which it was at the time, but you know, life tells a story, and in life things change, and even in the marriage, it was never it was never real. It was all a setup. And it was crazy because now that I have processed these things since then up until now of 2026, the first sign was at the time my ex was out playing basketball, and it was like the day before the wedding, and he broke his wedding finger. And I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh my God, this was not supposed to happen, like I was thinking the bad things, not really. I was tuned in to the Holy Spirit and with my relationship with the Most High, but I wasn't. Like, I was half asleep. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I was half asleep. And it was like it didn't dawn on me, that was a red flag. I took it as, oh man, like I was kind of down, because that's the ring finger that you put the ring on. So that was the first flag of like, don't go forward with this. But at the time, in my walk with my father, it wasn't strong as it is today. And fast forward, and then like time goes on, even the proposal part too, I'm rewinding. So even the proposal, that was another flag that I'm just now remembering, because they had me under a lot of spell work. Like I was kind of like, yeah, zombie, literally. The other red flag was, the proposal itself was just trash. And I'm not trying to speak bad, but it is what it is. uh I remember it was on my ex's birthday. He did it wasn't even really a proposal. It was, I woke up and he had a ring and he just threw it on the bed at me, and that was it. So it was just kind of like I was caught up in the moment of like, wow, like it's finally happening. Like I'm actually getting married. I know, sounds crazy, right? But I was caught up in the moment of like, oh, he did it on his birthday. cool, you know. He made it a moment for him, but just the way that it was done, the intention behind how it was done, it was, now that I think about it, it was trash, you know. And I'm the type of person, you know, I put my all into everything. Like when it's a special occasion, I will go all out. Like you're gonna be surprised. You're gonna really feel my love, you know. And it was like at the time, you know, my experience of love was uh it was tainted, you know, of what how I understand love to be from my creator now. And I was just happy, you know, like not very many women in my family, you know, they got married, and there was only a few, you know, so I felt very special that it was my turn, you know, like I was ready for this. So that was another red flag, and another one was as time went on, like women would flirt with my ex, and me, I was so like always been like sensitive and aware of my surroundings and people. You know, I pick up on things. You know, being intuitive, you pick up on everything. And it was like I'm watching these women, you know, and I'm not the type of female that gets jealous because I'm like, I know I'm all that in a bag of chips with the dip. Okay, like there's plenty of fish in the sea. That's how I view things, you know? And I'm like, so I wasn't worried about it. But I would watch these women like flirt with my man in my face, and I'm looking at him like, is he not aware of this? And he would play dumb as if like, oh, I didn't know that's what they were doing. I don't think that's what they were doing. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, that's what they were doing. Now you know, you know? And it's like, it happened all the time, you know, but me being in the frame of mind and how I view myself, how I think about myself is if he's really meant for me, he's gonna be with me. If he's not, he's gonna go. It is what it is. I've always been that way. I don't fight over a man. There's plenty of men out here. You know what I'm saying? And I've always carried that with me as a woman. Like, if it's meant for me, it's for me. If it's not, then it just ain't, you know. Even before, you know, I had my relationship with the Father, I have always stood that, held to that, you know. Because I know I'm a pretty girl. I've been pretty since I came out the womb, regardless of what anybody else says. It's how I feel about myself, right? So, yeah, that was another thing that was happening throughout the process. And I was a stay-at-home mom, so I always was an entrepreneur. I always had a hustle or something I was doing on the side, you know. And I'm a very creative person, so I always get downloads from the Most High, like to create and do things. So I always had something to do, even when I was at home. I always had things to do, and I did those things, you know. Always been a teacher and a student, always, you know. So I always was uh, teaching through. I have like my own photography, artwork, all these things that I would do, you know. It was always in work for the Most High. I was always at work, you know, and it's a lovely work that I love to do. And then like time went on, you know, and we moved around a lot. I remember that. I went through being homeless about 6 times during the marriage. And at first, I couldn't understand what was happening, you know, and it was jealous family members on my side and on my ex's side that they just didn't want to see us together. They were jealous of the marriage. They were jealous that the Most High had brought us together, you know, at the time. And it was sad to have to sit back and watch that. And at the time, it was like I was just so like sad at the fact that these are family members doing these things, you know? And I was like processing that as these things were happening day to day. And I was pregnant at the time. We were having our first kid together. And we had to move around a lot because he would like get laid off from work. Like that was the main thing. Like it just kept happening, just like weird things when it came to like finances. Like they were attacking our finances always. And every church that we were under, and this is what is like just makes it even worse. So I was always a secretary at every church that we attended. So I used to be church girl before I came out from the church, you know, and the Most High had me there, you know, for training. So I was always a secretary at every church we went to. Like I was really good at what I did, you know, very organized, you know. I always got things done and completed. Like that's just it's just in me to do, you know. And the Most High was equipping me and training me and using that, you know, because I always had to do things on my own. I've never had any help. So it was like that became a part of my skill set, you know. And of being an entrepreneur, you know, you kind of have to do a lot of things on your own to get it done, get the job done, right? So, yeah, I was always a secretary at every church that we went to, and the women would always be jealous. Like, I would do nothing to these women but support them in their ministries, you know, like some would run a women's ministry, some would have like things they would do, you know, and I would always be in full support, you know, because that's just what I do. I love to help people, you know. But every time it came time to something I wanted to do, I never had any help. And I kind of got used to that, you know, because I was so equipped physically of how to do these things on my own. Like my skill set is like out of this world, and I'm not trying to brag. It's just this is who I am. You know, this is how the Most High shaped and molded me and created me. So I was always able to conquer any event that I would put on. I would do all the creativity myself and run it and everything because nobody would ever help me. I would ask for help and people would give me excuses, or they would just ignore me, or they would never respond, or they never just would support. And I was like experiencing that heavily uh for 7 years straight. I was experiencing that at every church we would go to, and like the men would even be intimidated, which is sad. um of me uh teaching, you know. And it was just like the basics of life, of how to get through life, you know. Like they were always intimidated, which I thought was just weird and strange. But yet they wanted me to be their secretary, you know, because they want to use you. They want to use your gifts. They want to use the skills that you have to uplift themselves. And you know, and I was always easy to talk to about people's problems. They would always come to me, you know. I'd listen. And at the time, I didn't know how to transmute energy, so it was like people would just dump on me, and me not understanding how to release it at the time. I have pictures of myself like where I like blew up. I've always been a skinny girl. Even after having children, I just blew up, and it was because I was like carrying the weight of everybody else's nasty energy and their problems and issues of life, you know. I'll have to show pictures of that too. I'll put it in my shorts. Um, but yeah, I was dealing with that on top of that, you know. And when we would be going through these things, like there was so many people in on this. And even my partner, my ex at the time was in on this, and I didn't even know, of trying to take me out, trying to take my life, trying to unalive me, you know. I didn't even see it. Like being homeless 6 times throughout the last 7 years of my life. And the Most High had me in the palm of his hand through it all, you know. He did. Because every time we would have to go stay at a shelter to get back on our feet, it wouldn't be for long, you know. Sometimes it would be for a month. Sometimes it would be for like a couple weeks. And then every time that it would happen, they would do it to us. And he became a part of doing it to us. We would have to stay at the shelter like for longer periods of time, you know. And I'm like, yo, like it was, sometimes it would be for like 6 months, you know, some would be for like 3, but every time we were there, you know, the Most High, you know, I would just be before him praying, you know, asking for him to provide. And he always came through no matter what was happening. He always came through. He always provided financially. He always made a way, you know. And at the time, like, I had mastered peace so long ago. Y'all, I'm not even playing with you. I mastered peace a long time ago because of the things that we would undergo, you know. And patience. Even though that is something that is an ongoing thing for like ever. Patience is. There are different levels of it. And at the time, like, I had to keep everybody calm. I was the one, you know, I was like the base. Staying calm, you know, because I had a child, a 2-year-old child that I had just found out had autism, you know. So it was like I had to stay in a place of like solitude and peace in my state of mind, you know, for everybody, for me, my daughter, and my ex, even though he was behind the scenes helping cause this shit, you know. I would stay in that place, you know, of calmness and knowing that the Most High is going to provide a way out. And he did every time. He did every time, you guys. He always provided. And it was crazy because everybody was just, it was like a TV show for everybody. They all were just sitting and watching behind the scenes. And then when I would reach out and call people, they wouldn't even help. But they wanted to hear what was going on in my life, you know, so they could talk and gossip about it. But nobody ever helped. None. And if they did help, it'd be for 1 or 2 days, and then like they would use it as a weapon against us, you know? So it's just like having to go through all that and knowing that and having to just, I always would submit it to the Most High and just cry in secret, you know, the hurt and the pain. Of what they put me through. But my father, he always provided a way out. And I will always forever have gratitude. I will always have thanksgiving and praise upon my lips because he never let me down. He never did. He never forsake me when all else did. My Father, my Heavenly Father, he never forsake me. And I will be forever grateful for that. Anyway, fast forward. It was like the 7th year that we had been married, and a lot had transpired, you know. A lot of warfare that was nonstop, never ceased, was happening. And it got heavier and heavier as the years transpired. And when that 7-year cycle came to an end, the way it ended, it was just horrible. I woke up to somebody that I thought I knew who was a totally different person. It was like waking up to a monster. I'm not even lying. It was waking up to somebody that you're looking like, who are you in my house? You're not the person that I thought I knew. I woke up to, I want a divorce. And I'm like, huh? What? Like, because we would joke around, not about divorce, but we would joke and play around. And yeah, he said that. And I was like, is this a joke? And he was like, no, this is for real. I want a divorce. And I would ask why. He was like, you tell me why. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Like, and then he would use excuses of like, because I never would communicate when we have conflict, which was a lie. He was just trying to gaslight me and project on me things that he was doing in secret that I wasn't aware of. And yeah, the whole time he was cheating on me. He was a part of a organization that he know I would never, ever, ever be okay with. Because I don't get down like that. Never have, never will. And my family was in on it, waiting for the kill, waiting to come in to destroy my marriage, which they did. They accomplished that, but they're paying for it now. They accomplished it. You did. And yeah, waking up to that and telling me that I had to get out and find somewhere else to live. And I was cool about it, because it was like, okay, if that's what you want. I've always been the type, I don't fight, I don't argue about if somebody else wants you, they can have you, There's plenty of fish in the sea, okay? So me, I'm like, okay, cool, I started packing my stuff up, getting stuff ready, cleaning out the house, removing as much as I could, that was my stuff. And he thought he was going to keep my daughter, and then he's like, no, you can take her with you. So me in my right mind, I'm like, at the time, I was so caught up in like, is this really happening, Abba? Because like, I had no intention, I had no thought of this ever happening, Like, I'm the type, once I get married, this is forever. This is like me, you, and the Most High, That's my mind. That was my mindset at the time, and it still is. When I have my future husband come into my life, it's gonna be like that. This is forever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I was still processing as I was packing. Like, is this really happening? Am I tripping? So I packed my baby girl's clothes, We didn't have nowhere to go. We didn't have no ride. We didn't have no money. All I knew is I had to leave there. So I was just like calling people. And at the time, like, I didn't have any friends. I was like, I didn't even pay attention throughout the process. Like, I didn't have anybody to call. I had nobody to talk to. I was isolated. People that I thought loved me and cared about me, I seen a different side of them that I didn't understand why I was being mistreated, why all this stuff was happening to me, and it was because they were paid to do it. They were paid to ignore me. They were paid to mistreat me. They were paid to not support me or to help me. They were paid to ignore me. So I had one friend who I thought was my best friend that I called at the time, and I was sharing with her, we have to leave here. I don't have anywhere to go. Is there any way you can come pick us up, and I'll figure the rest out from there? And uh, she wasn't able to at that moment, but like 3 days later, she had a day off, so she was able to pick me up, and I was like, okay, cool. So even in those 3 days, he just started treating me like I was trash. I couldn't eat anything in the house, so I was pretty much fasting off of water, if not even not even that. I wasn't allowed to eat or use anything in the house. Um, so I would make sure that my daughter ate, and stuff, but I wasn't allowed to eat. It was some, you guys, when I say I was like in total shock of how I was being treated, like I was in shock, y'all. Like I was lost for words. And on the third day, I was getting so weak, I hadn't eaten, barely had any water to drink. My ride came, and I thought he'd be man enough and nice enough to carry. I had our clothes in tubs out to the car, to help me get the stuff in the car, and he wouldn't even help. I had to drag those heavy tubs all the way down a flight of stairs because we lived in an apartment building. It was heavy. And even my friend, I didn't even, at the time, didn't even pay attention to it. She wouldn't even help me. And it didn't dawn on me at the time because I was still caught up in, like, what was happening, like, still processing that. And it was like, I got accused of cheating, and then it was I cheated with a neighbor. I even went as far as I went and got my neighbor to come over to my house to testify that this nigga is lying and that my neighbor was not like that. And when that was proven to be false, he still was like, I don't care. I still don't believe you. So it was like family members were feeding the lies, saying that I cheated, but really he was in on it. He was the one cheating. He was the one having an affair. He was the one sleeping around on me. But they were all projecting on me, trying to accuse me of things that I would never do. And they know I wouldn't do that. Because they knew at the time my heart and how loving and genuine and caring and giving that I am still today. I just have boundaries now. But they knew, and they played on that big time. So then as we left, and I was sharing with my friend, and it was like she was playing her role too. Acting like she didn't know what was going on and this and that. When really, like, she slept with him too, She was a part of it too. She got paid too, But she let me stay at her house for like 3 days, and I was able to find a shelter where me and my daughter were able to go. It was close to my hometown, so we got to the shelter, we got settled, and I was able to get what I needed to get. And I used to homeschool my daughter, so I had to put her in public school because we were staying at the shelter, and they have like certain rules and all this stuff, about your kid being in school and this and that, So I enrolled her in school and stuff, and that was a big transition, children with autism, they like safe environments, and where we were staying, I liked the shelter. They were good to us, But the environment, I mean, you have different types of people in there. We have people, who use drugs, who are just homeless, you know how it is in the homeless shelter. You have a variety of people in there. And the one I was in, it was for men and women, and and for families, people with families. So it was a variety. And being in that environment with a child who has autism, who's nonverbal, they don't like a lot of noise, they like the calmness. They like a safe environment. You know, they like to be able to be free to express themselves, and we couldn't really do all that in there, you know. So it was challenging in there, and we had to stay there for an entire year. I had family that only lived 10 minutes from the homeless shelter that I was staying out. So it was like out in the country, like in the middle of nowhere. That's where it was. It was an old church building that they turned into a homeless shelter. And do you think that anybody would help me? Like I even called my ex-mother, who is my ex-mother now. I even called her and asked her, you know, if she could help me. She came like one time. And like she was the culprit of it all. She was the head person who made all this happen. And it was like she was getting the pleasure out of me being in a homeless shelter, breaking up my marriage, me having to ask for her help. But really, she didn't want to help. She just came to be nosy to see how I was feeling and looking and all of that, you know. She came one time, you know, and gave me a ride because I had a doctor's appointment. And that was it. Other than that, I never heard from her again because they didn't give a damn. They were a part of it. I was the sacrifice. I was their little sacrificial lamb. I've been her sacrifice for the last like 30 years. Her and Satan made their little pact, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, a whole entire year had family 10 minutes down the road from me who wouldn't even help me, but was coming in the background attacking me every night I was there because I was seeing them clearly in the spirit realm. I seen y'all coming trying to spiritually traffic and rape me for my energy so that you guys could be in these positions, so that you guys could be on city council, so that you guys could live in these fancy houses and drive nice cars. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the way you went about it and stealing my inheritance, the way you went about it was so evil and wicked. Knowing my heart, my whole family, I would have supported. They knew, and the sad thing is, they knew that, but they hated that it was me who the Most High had chosen to be above them. But instead, they just threw me under the bus, tried to destroy my life, trying to be me. I don't understand how a male wants to try to be a female. I understand like wanting their energy, but like get your own feminine energy. Heal your own damn feminine side of yourself. Heal your motherly wounds. Don't come from me and mine, you know? But yeah, a whole year living in a homeless shelter, and eventually like I was running the shelter, y'all. Like I had favor so great that the owner trusted me to help assist in running the homeless shelter when they would be short staffed and stuff, you know. And it worked out perfect because they allowed me to stay there as long as I needed to until I was able to get on my feet. And like they blackballed me, so I couldn't get a job to make extra income to save to get out of there. So I literally had to apply for certain assistances to come through for me so that I could get into a place. And the waiting period, it was long. It was long. I went through some stuff, y'all. I had no income for an entire year living in a homeless shelter. So thank God people donated like soap and stuff like that because I had none of that. I had none of that. And like they served meals like two times a day. So it was a miracle to not have income for a whole entire year but be taken care of. I was taken care of by the Most High. And I always had a vision that I was going to be helping people in the homeless shelter. It is crazy how it played out. Even though I had to go into homelessness myself in order to experience it, to be a part of it, I was able to assist in that. So when I was there, I was making sure helping people get their paperwork filled out and turned in. Uh, you know, because I did all my stuff in like 2 weeks. It was just a waiting period for me. So there are other people, like that just needed help filling it out, making sure they get it turned back in. Um, I would bring back like extra paperwork for people who didn't have transportation, like when, because I had favors, so the staff would sneak me out on the side and take me to where I needed to be. They even would take me out to eat, y'all. I had it good. I ain't gonna lie. I had it good in the homeless shelter because of the Most High's mighty hand upon my life and the favor that is on my life. And I ain't bragging, but I'm bragging about my Father's goodness in my life. Even when I had nothing, I had everything. Anyways, yeah, so yeah, I would assist people and make sure, they had everything that they needed, and just try to keep the peace in there, because not everybody gets along with everybody, for a whole year. And it was crazy. There were certain people, and what I was like gaining control over, and understanding even at a greater level I was there, was I had assignments. I was still on assignment even though I was homeless. I was on assignment, y'all. You will always be taken care of, I promise you. I promise you. I don't care where you end up at. You're going to be taken care of if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that the Most High has called you to. I'm telling you. So I was on assignment. There were certain people there. I couldn't leave that place until these people got what they needed, which was housing. And it was like, it was crazy how it happened, because at the end, when I felt it was time to go, I was so excited, but yeah, I was like sad because I built relationships with these people, They would come and they would go. They would come, they would go. Like they would have a limit where you could only stay for 3 months, but my situation was different, And I seen people come and go that didn't make the time frame, and they had to leave. Like there was no excuses for them. I seen that. I seen people having to just like leave and go to another shelter and try again. Like I seen some stuff, man, in that place and in other homeless shelters, But every shelter I went to, I had favor, y'all. I had favor. The Most High was with me every step of the way. Even when I couldn't see clearly, He was with me. But where the last place I was at for a year, it was just me and my daughter. Like, there was a lot of eyes being open about my family. Because, like, I always knew they didn't care, but the Most High had to show me the depth of it. And while I was there, it hurt, I was like, dang, for real, Most High? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dang, okay, And I cry, of knowing, nobody really loved me. They just wanted me for what I got, what I could do for them. My energy. They didn't care for me. They hated my guts. And they did not care whether I lived or I died. And that was a hard pill to swallow while I was there. But I got through it. It made me stronger. It opened my eyes to see on a whole nother level what I was going to be up against, what I was dealing with. Even though I knew they didn't care for me long ago, but it was like actually like in your face, I was stuck at a homeless shelter having to face myself and the truth of the people who called themselves loving me, caring about me. They never cared. I was just another means to an end for them. They were just using me. Since I came out the womb, And I don't even remember being a baby either. I don't. And it's probably a reason behind it because it was so horrible that the Most High, when it's time, He'll show me. But yeah, y'all, that's this is just a little portion of my life story. Like I haven't even gone into detail, what happens after I left the shelter, because that's when it really got real. And there will be a part two of that. But this is just the intro of fast forwarding a 7-year cycle of how it led me to where I am today. But I will do a part two. So, yeah, stay tuned. And I hope that this encourages somebody, that it gives someone hope that uh, you can get through anything. Those who diligently seek the Most High, He shall give them their heart's desire. He will be with you through it all if you allow Him to be. And you guys, until next time, shalom.